Hey guys, Kudus Campbell here for thebuttonsmashers.com, and today we're reviewing MXGP 3. What I love the most about sports games is that suspense of belief that they give you by replicating the look, sound, and atmosphere of the television production you get from watching the sport on telly. Games like NBA 2K and MLB The Show are the two best games at making you believe that you're a pro player. Even FIFA has been making small strides in replicating the act of viewing football. So that brings us to MXGP 3. When I began the review process for MXGP 3, I didn't think I needed to know much about the sport that the game depicts. But after playing my first race, I immediately knew that I was wrong to assume and that I was going to have to learn more about motocross. In an effort to learn more about the sport and by association the game, I watched the AMA High Point 2017 450 class Moto 1 and whoa, it was amazing. Watching that race made a motocross fan of me, but did I appreciate the game more? The short answer is a little. It made me more open to the game than I was at first, but I didn't feel engulfed in it, which if you ask me is a bad thing. Games like these ride on the player's desire to experience what they watch on telly while changing the outcomes with their own hands. Players want to feel like they're the ones that won that race, scored that goal, experienced the battle on the field of combat. MXGP gets some of this right, but there's a big if in that statement. You see, the game rides on something that I'm dubbing the if factor. If you play this game as an esport with live commentators, it can be epic. If you make up your own internal rivalries, you'll have much more fun with it. If you have a lot of patience, then this game can eventually feel rewarding. See where I'm going with this? The game does a couple things right, but it's just not good enough. It leaves it up to you, the player, to fill in the blanks, something that should never be with games like these that ride on fandom of physical sports. MXGP 3 fails by not emulating motocross well enough, and here's how. When you start the game the first time, you're required to create a character. This is the character that you'll be mainly using in the game's career mode. The creation suite is limited at first, but after you get into the game, there's a lot that you can do with your character. After creating your character, you can choose a sponsor and begin playing the career mode, which happens to be the most bare bones career mode I've played in a game in a while. It seems like something you'll find on the PlayStation 1 back in the day. There are no bells and whistles to the mode at all. You choose a race, your bike, settings, sponsor, and just race. There was no feeling that I was a real motocross rider other than seeing my rank on the leaderboard over the course of a season, and this infuriated me more than anything else. The game could have had some form of plot, story elements, rivals, something, just something to make the races feel more worth it. Oh, and you want to know the thing that bothered me the most? There's no commentary. None! When watching motocross on telly, commentators build up the narrative between the players. Who has dialed for who, how much of a comeback someone made in a race, and talking about the time trials from previous races. I'm sorry, if you can't at least build a narrative for me to care about, why should I? This is not Rocket League where everything is fictional. This is an attempt to replicate something else, and doing a poor job of it. And I know there are going to be folks that are going to try to defend this game by stating that it attempts to replicate the real life experience, but does it really? Because I watched quite a few motocross races during the review process, and even ones in different languages, and those recorded by some bloke on his phone, and I couldn't help but notice the announcer in the background of every race and the sound of the crowd. These are elements that help build the atmosphere, and MXGP 3 has none. I repeat, none. It has none of it. If you stop your bike in the middle of the track, all you'd hear are the sound of engines and what would amount to basic menu music in other games. In essence, I consider this an arcade game. The other modes do not do enough to differentiate themselves from each other, so I won't even go into detail about them, and I was unable to find one online match on Steam during the review process. Graphically the game looks good, but keep in mind that visuals like tire markings and gashes in the track do not affect the movement of the bike, they are purely cosmetic. The game also uses a lot of resources to run at peak fidelity, so mid to low end PC owners will need to keep this in mind. What I did to get the best out of the game's visuals was visit the compound, the game test track, to alter the settings in real time. This allowed me to make changes to each of the sliders, then check the performance so that I was able to get the best performance and visuals that my system could offer. Messing with the game's photo mode and filters is another way that you can see just how good this game can look. You can create some epic images, but I wish the filters could have been left enabled during races. As for the audio, the bikes sound like lawnmowers, but that's pretty much what they sound like in real life. All my criticisms aside, MXGP 3 does get a couple things right. Remember the if factor I mentioned earlier? Well, I made up my own ridiculous narrative from my Swedish racer Lord Pro, an unedged lad who grew up on one of the small isles in the Swedish archipelago and found fulfillment in motocross at a young age. LP is a bit of a loose cannon in that he's not against knocking you off your bike if he has to, and he tends to win his races in the last lap. The dude has the amazing ability to come back from dead last to make up some much needed points over the course of a season. And also he has the habit of shouting, "You do not mess with the warrior, Carla!" Making up this narrative for LP helped make the game much more fun for me, and it's something that you're going to have to do if you're hoping to find some fun in the career mode. One of the other things that kept me playing MXGP 3 was the customization. There's a lot that can be done with your created character and his bikes. Sadly, there are no female characters in the game, which sucks, so you're going to have to make do with the choices that are on offer for your bloke. Your character's choices among numerous branded biker gear that can be purchased using in-game currency earned by winning races. This currency can also be spent to upgrade your bikes, and one of the best parts about this purchase system is that most of the parts that you purchase can be installed on all your bikes. While playing the game, I'd check to see if the same part was available for all my bikes, and then I'd upgrade each of them at the same time. As for the way the bikes perform, I'm happy to say that for the most part they are done well. When you remove most or all of the assistance and attempt to actually learn how to play the game, you'll find that it replicates the look of riding an MX bike quite well. There are settings in the options menu that can be altered to change the amount of assistance and control that you have over your bike. Switching these to semi-pro or pro truly allow you to experience the game as it should be experienced. The feeling of mastering the perfect corner, braking, and performing scrubs is satisfying. Scrubs are particularly rewarding when the bike doesn't start moving around in the air as if a giant invisible child were holding it in their hands and moving it about. I would have preferred if scrubs were mapped to a single button press and just came in a few standard realistic variations. The final and probably the most surprising feature this game has to offer is the difficulty system. Before every race, you're able to enter a menu labeled race options, then increase or decrease the difficulty of the race by messing with a few sliders. These allow you to remove the rewind feature, add qualifiers, change the AI difficulty, and some other stuff. By changing these settings to make the game more challenging, you are rewarded with more in-game credits, and if you play the qualifier, you have a chance to earn the right to choose a better spot on the starting line. So with all that I've said about the game, here is my final verdict. If I had to choose one word to describe this game, it would be empty. It's a game that has an interesting canvas on display, but no depth to it. So many features in this game are half-baked, and the ones that aren't have to be augmented by your own imagination or by messing around with the game until you find them. Thank you for watching this review of MXGP 3. If you found this review to be helpful, make sure to give us a like and let us know your opinions in the comment section below. And if you want to see more content like this from us, make sure to subscribe to this channel.